Inside Talk Show. I'm Carla Elizondo. Inside Talk Show, it's an inside job. We are continuing our reading. We're on chapter 4 of The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. The first principle in the science of getting rich. We're going to read a couple pages in, and then we're going to continue tomorrow because this is a little longer of a chapter. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. I sure did. All right, chapter 4 from The Science of Getting Rich. The first principle in the science of getting rich. Thought is the only power that can produce tangible riches from the formless substance. Thought. The stuff from which all things are made is a substance which thinks. A thought of form in this substance produces the form. Original substance moves according to its thoughts. Every form and process you see in nature is the visible expression of a thought in the original substance. We've talked about this before. Look at anything around you. Right now I'm looking at this book, this couch. It was first a thought before it became a thing. That's how everything that is becomes. It's in the unseen and it becomes the seen. That is energy and matter, the two sides of the coin. We can't just be focused on the matter or the physical things we can see with our physical eyes. That is just the matter that was made manifest out of a thought first, the substance, the thinking substance. So original substance moves according to its thoughts. Every form and process you see in nature is the visible expression of a thought in this original substance. As it thinks of a form, it takes that form. As it thinks of a motion, it makes that motion. That is the way all things were created. We live in a thought world, and this world is a part of a thought universe. The original thought of a moving universe first extended throughout the formless substance. The thinking stuff resulting from that thought took the form of systems of planets and continues to maintain that form. Thinking substance takes the form of its thought, and moves according to the thought. Holding the idea of a circling system of suns and worlds, it took the form of these bodies and moved them accordingly. There's a really great book. I know I've mentioned it before. It's called The Impersonal Life. It's a little book, cute little book. I've showed it here. It's a beautiful blue little cover. Look it up on Amazon. It's called The Impersonal Life. And it goes into just deeper, a different, very different narrative than what is common or popular about our place in the universe, about thought stuff, about how the universe came to be, about creation and our role in it. It is pretty dense, but if you're into this stuff, you'll love it. The Impersonal Life. Okay, so the original thought of a moving universe first extended throughout the formless substances and created the systems. Okay. Although centuries may be required to do the work, by thinking the form of a slow-growing tree, the formless substance produces the tree. In creating, the formless substance seems to move according to the lines of motion it has established. The thought of an oak tree does not cause the instant formation of a full-grown tree, but it does start in motion the forces which will produce the tree along established lines of growth. Every thought of form held in thinking substance causes the creation of that form, but always, or at least generally, along lines of growth and action already established. In the thought of a house of a certain construction were impressed upon the formless substance, it might not cause the instant formation of that house, but it would cause the turning of creative energies in human beings already working in trade and commerce into such channels as to result in the speedy building of the house. And if there were no existing channels through which the creative energy would work, the house would be formed directly from primal substance, without waiting for the slow process of the organic and inorganic world. No thought of form can be impressed upon the original substance without causing the creation of that form. A human being is a thinking center and can originate thought. That goes back to the whole Genevieve B. Rand quote, "My mind is a center of divine operation," which she got from Thomas Troward. So my mind is a center of divine operation. So when we are living from the inside out, remember, Inside Talk Show, it's an inside job. We must learn to live from the inside out versus the outside in. There's another really good book. It's by Hawkins, Power versus Force. Power versus Force. David R. Hawkins. Power versus Force. I'm listening to it right now. It's like a black and white cover right there. The audiobook, he's the narrator. It's not the best. He's not the most enthusiastic narrator. I want the actual hard copy too, to see all of the tables and the charts, but he talks about just energy, high and low energy, power versus force, how when we are in our power, and that's what Gary Zukav, the seat of the soul, talks about, when we are in the seat of our soul, in our power center source, that's true power. And he uses an example of Gandhi. When we use true power, things are attracted to us. It's inclusive. It allows things to come together in harmony and in love. But when we are forceful, meaning forcing things outside of us, that is like the energy of the Hitler. Forcing, coercing, manipulating, just force, destructive, exclusive, the ability to divide. And it talks about how power always overcomes force in the end. Anyways, that's a really good book. All right, where were we? Okay, so no thought of form can be impressed upon the original substance without causing the creation of that form. Well, we talked about whatever we impress, we express. Whatever thoughts we're thinking, good or bad, we end up expressing. So if we're loving, joyous, happy, we're going to be loving, joyous, and happy. But if we're anxious, worried, pessimistic, negative, we're going to be anxious, worried, pessimistic, and negative. And we can absolutely have our mouths shut and say not a word. But if we keep impressing on our subconscious mind these thoughts and these feelings, we can literally have tape over our mouths and walk in a room and people can feel that discord. It goes back to the whole musical analogy of, what is your instrument vibrating? What music are you playing? What frequency are you at? If you've ever been in a room and there's a TV on or like a low frequency, you can just hear the hum. What are you humming at? Well, look around you. A lot of people, you can tell when someone doesn't like you. You can feel it. How can we prove it? We can't. But when you get to a certain age, when you know, your intuition kicks in, that sixth sense, you can just feel it. And that's our instruments tuning in to another instrument. And it takes no words, absolutely no words. Okay, if the thought of okay, we already read that. A human being is a thinking center. Oh yeah, that's his, and can originate thought. All the forms that a person fashions with his or her hands must first emerge from thought. Anything we do physically first starts with a thought. CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. Our actions are a reflection of our emotions. Our emotions are caused by our thoughts. It always starts with thought. When you are feeling out of whack, when you're acting out of whack, it's because you're involved with a thought that's out of whack. Period. But it all goes back to, are you happy? Are you at peace? And do you want to change it? Some people don't want to change it, and that's okay. Everybody's on their own journey. Everybody's on their own, timetable. And it's no one's business to change anybody else. It's not your business or your job to change anybody else. Remember, people don't dislike change. They dislike being changed. Put yourself in their shoes. We've all been through that, where somebody is a few steps ahead of us and they're beating this over our head with an idea, a thought, an epiphany they had. That's wonderful for them. But we have to have it for ourselves. And the only way you can truly change people is just to be an example. Be your best self. And people will be attracted to you if they want to change. But if they don't, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your breath. You can scream until you're blue in the face. You can plan, do a planner for them, go to their house, shadow, them for a week, but it will all be for nothing if they're not ready first to change up here. It's a cybernetic system. What program are they running? Because that underlying program is it's the motherboard. You might be able to tweak it because of your presence, but when you're out of the picture, they're just going to go back to their regularly scheduled programming. Okay. So an individual cannot shape a thing until the same individual has thought that thing. So nobody can make a change unless they change their own thoughts. And so far, the human race has confined its efforts wholly to the work of its hands. It has applied manual labor to the world of forms, seeking to change or modify already existing forms. Our human race has never thought of trying to cause the creation of new forms by impressing thought upon the formless substance. That's the truth. We try to control and change through force. Picture life as a tree. It has roots and it has fruit. The fruit we're bearing right now, individually, collectively, as a world, is pretty scary fruit. But what people are doing is they're going to the fruit and they're trying to change the fruit. You have to change the roots. Just the whole thing I said before. We can't change not just individuals, family members, partners. We can't change institutions, countries, societies, cities, governments, police forces. We can't change a thing. We have to go to the roots. And it's absolutely frustrating. You can say, well, it's terrible. It's terrible. It's like, it is terrible. But where did it come from? It's perpetuated ignorance is what it is. And only knowledge, awareness, and study. It has to start with awareness. I know that's a very I don't know if it's an unpopular thing, but it's the work people don't want to do. It's like, go to the gym every day if you want to lose weight. No, I don't want to do that. I want to take a diet pill. Okay, great. We're taking diet pills, so to speak, to do the work, to make things peaceful. No, we have to change. We have to do that hard work. And that causes thinking. Remember, thinking is hard. It takes a lot of energy. So when individuals have a thought form, they take material from the forms of nature and make an image of the form, which is in the mind. They have, so far, had made little or no effort to cooperate with the formless intelligence, to work with the Father. Remember, Neville and these works say the Father is within. The Father, the Lord of a manner. Our highest self is the Lord over our thoughts. Are we in charge? Are you the master of your castle? Or are you a slave? So people have not dreamed that they can do what they see the master or the Father doing. Mankind reshapes and modifies existing forms by manual labor. We have not considered the question of whether we could produce things from the formless substance by communicating our thoughts to it. I propose to prove that we may do so, to prove that any other man or woman may do so, and to show how. My first step will be to lay down 3 fundamental propositions. First, we assert that there is an original formless substance from which all things are made. All the seemingly many elements are only different presentations of one element. All the many forms found in organic and inorganic nature are only different shapes made from the same stuff. And this stuff is thinking stuff. A thought held in it produces the form of the thought. Thought, in thinking substance, produces shapes. A human being is a thinking center, capable of original thought. If any one of us can communicate our thought to original thinking substance, we can cause the creation or formation of the thing we think about. To summarize this, there is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which, in its original state, permeates, penetrates, and fills the inner spaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imagined by the thought. So remember, picture this, to get an image, to conceptualize this. Picture us, we're fish, and this thinking stuff is water. It's all around us. It permeates and penetrates every cell and molecule of our being. Remember, when Scientists look at the atoms. 99.999% of the molecules is empty space. They don't know. They've only figured out what 1% is, 0.1% is. And same with the universe. It seems to be expanding and getting bigger. I mean, so just think of this thinking stuff as water, which everything is just in. It soaks in, it's around us. And in its original state, permeates, penetrates, and fills the inner spaces of the ocean, of the universe. So having a thought in this substance produces a thing that is imagined by the thought. You can form things in your thought, and by impressing your thought upon formless substance can cause the thing you think about to be created. I can prove these statements by both logic and experience. Reasoning back from the phenomenon of form and thought, I come to the original thinking substance, and reasoning forward from the thinking substance, I come to the individual's power to cause the formation of the thing one thinks about. By experiment, I find this reasoning to be true, and this is my strongest proof. If one person who reads this book gets rich by doing what I say to do, that is evidence in support of my claim. Furthermore, if every person who does what I say to do gets rich, that is positive proof until someone goes through the process and fails. The theory is true until the process fails, and this process will not fail because every person who does exactly what I say to do will get rich. I'll stop there. I love this book so much, and it's not easy reading at first because it goes against my old programming, my old paradigms of, only believing what I see, or, being rational or logical even. And they talk about how, our conscious thinking mind, that's the logic. The subconscious is the illogical, unreasonable mind. It's both. We are both. I don't have my little pictures with me today, but it's the dance between both. We can't get stuck in one or the other. If we're only about the unseen and the illogical and the just not grounded in any truth, that doesn't work. You look at those people and you're like, but if you're only, reasonable and well, I can't see it, so I can't believe it. We can't be in that either, because that leaves no opportunity for new things. We talk about the Wright brothers. Let's look at Steve Jobs. Let's look at Elon Musk. If they were logical, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., it wasn't logical. Gandhi, it wasn't logical. The things that anybody who does anything, it does not come from reasonable thinking. You have to be unreasonable. Anybody who makes changes, anybody who I look up to, does things out of the box. And it's challenging. It really is challenging. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that chapter. That was chapter 4 of The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. We're in our new sofa studio with my beautiful background of Spain. And I hope you're all having a wonderful week so far. It's Monday. Hope you had a good weekend. As always, if you have any questions, please schedule a free call with me. I would love to chat with you, hear your story, or answer any questions you have. I look forward to continuing this reading of The Science of Getting Rich this week, and I will see you guys all tomorrow.